My name's Emily Carter, and I'm 40 years old. At my own brother's wedding, his bride-to-be told me I had to eat in the kitchen with the people who work there. Before I tell you how one phone call changed everyone's lives forever, let me know where you're watching from in the comments. I'd love to see how far this story goes. It all started on a sunny Saturday in June. My boyfriend David was driving, and I was looking at the really fancy wedding invitation on my lap. It had gold writing and looked super expensive. "You sure you're okay?" David asked in a gentle voice. He knew about my family problems. "I'm fine," I lied. "It's just a party." But we both knew it wasn't true. For my family, parties were like fights, and I was always the one who got hurt. My whole life had been like a lesson in being second best. My younger brother James was the favorite kid. He played football, and I won big coding contests. I remember our 16th birthdays. They were a week apart. James got the keys to an old Ford pickup truck. My dad patted him on the back and talked about freedom and driving around. I got a hard textbook about computer programming. "Don't hurt your eyes," was all my dad said. In the garage, my little plastic trophy for winning the state robotics contest sat collecting dust behind a flat football. This pattern never stopped. James got an easy management job at my dad's construction company that he didn't earn. I got a scholarship to Stanford, moved to Boston, and built my tech company called Apex Solutions from nothing. To them, my company and my life's work was just a hobby, a little computer thing. As we drove, I told David, "Work has been crazy this week. We just closed a huge new deal with a real estate company, but their management is a total mess. It seems like nobody there talks to each other." I didn't think much of it at the time. It was just work. David squeezed my hand. "Well, tonight, you're not a CEO. You're just a guest." He meant well, but the word made me feel cold inside. That was the problem. To my family, I was only ever a guest in my own life. The Reynolds estate was beautiful. It was a huge mansion looking out at the ocean with a massive white tent set up on the grass. It screamed old money. My mother, Linda, walked over with her smile as tight as a drum. "Emily, you made it." Her eyes looked at David with silent judgment. Then came the moment that started the whole disaster. We were talking near the main seating area when Sophia, my brother's bride-to-be, came over to us. She was wearing a mountain of white lace and had a smug smile on her face. "Emily, so glad you could come," she said in a fake sweet voice. "We have a special spot for you and your guest. It's in the back, in the kitchen. We figured you'd be more comfortable there." I just stared at her. In the kitchen with the catering staff? My mother stood right there, with a blank face. She said nothing. I looked across the lawn, and my eyes met James's. I saw it all in a split second, the panic, the shame, and then the cowardly giving up. He knew about this plan, and he did nothing. He looked away, turning to laugh at something one of his groomsmen said. And in that moment, something inside me didn't just break, it disappeared. The last thread of hope I'd held onto for 20 years, that one day my brother would stand up for me, just vanished. It was like watching a ghost leave a body. The brother I grew up with was gone, replaced by this weak, spineless stranger. I didn't feel anger, not yet. I just felt a deep, cold clarity. This was it. The game was over. I turned to David, whose face was a thundercloud of disbelief. I put a calming hand on his arm. "It's okay," I said in a steady voice. "I need to make a quick business call." The kitchen was chaos. The clang of pots, the hiss of the fryers, shouted orders. It was a world away from the tinkling glasses and polite laughter outside. I found a small stainless steel table in a corner and sat down, the craziness of it all washing over me. Here I was, in a designer dress, being told I belonged with the hired help. David stood beside me with his hands clenched. "Emily, we can just leave. We can walk out of here right now." I shook my head, my eyes fixed on my phone screen. "No," I said. "I'm not running. I'm handling this." I pulled up my contacts, and my thumb stopped over the name Paul Koo. I took one deep breath. This was a huge decision. It would have consequences. It wasn't just about my pride. It was about my company's values. David put a hand on my shoulder, a silent, steady anchor of support. That's all I needed. I closed my eyes for a second, then opened them. The hesitation was gone. I hit the call button. "Paul, it's Emily," I said in a low and even voice. "I need you to do something for me. Right now, I want you to start the breach of values clause on the Reynolds Properties account. Stop all integration work. I'll handle the official communication and the fallout." I listened for a moment. "Yes," I said. "I'm sure." I ended the call and stood up. It was time. I walked out of that kitchen and back into the fairy tale. The setting sun cast long shadows across the lawn. The band was playing something soft. Everyone was laughing and drinking champagne. It felt like I was moving through water. I walked directly to the head table. My parents, James, Sophia, and her father, William Reynolds, were all there. William was a man who radiated power, a titan of the real estate world. He was in the middle of telling some story with a big, booming laugh on his face. I just stood there, waiting. The laughter died down when they saw me. James's face went pale. Sophia's smile tightened into a sneer. "Did you get lost on your way back to the kitchen?" she asked, her voice just loud enough for the table to hear. I ignored her. I looked directly at William Reynolds. "Mr. Reynolds," I said, my voice cutting through the air, "I apologize for the interruption." He looked me up and down with a dismissive flick of his eyes. "And you are?" "My name is Emily Carter," I said, "and I felt I should inform you personally that Apex Solutions has just suspended its $25 million contract with your company." A fork clattered onto a plate. The silence was absolute. William Reynolds's bushy eyebrows shot up. "Apex Solutions? Who gave you the authority to—" James cut in. His voice was a desperate whisper. "Mr. Reynolds, sir, this is my sister Emily. She gets confused sometimes." I didn't even look at him. I kept my eyes locked on the most powerful man at the table. "I am the CEO of Apex Solutions," I said. The color drained from William Reynolds' face. He stared at me, then at James, then at his daughter, his mind visibly connecting the dots. The nightmare negotiations my team had, the internal chaos I'd mentioned to David, it all made sense to him now. His company's future was tied to the woman his daughter had just sent to the kitchen. He didn't shout. He didn't scream. It was so much worse than that. He went terrifyingly calm. He placed his napkin on the table, a slow, deliberate movement. He looked at James, and his voice was a low, icy blade. "James," he said, "stay. We need to have a conversation." In that moment, I felt the tectonic plates of my entire family shift. As I turned to leave, my parents rushed to intercept me near the exit. The fake smiles were gone, replaced with ugly, twisted masks of fury. "Emily, how could you?" my mother hissed. "How could you be so selfish? You've ruined your brother's wedding, his entire future." My father stood behind her, nodding. "This was just a little misunderstanding. You've blown this completely out of proportion." For the first time in my life, I didn't feel the need to defend myself. I didn't feel the sting of their words. I just felt pity. "I didn't ruin anything," I said, in a calm and clear voice. "You did. For 20 years, you taught him that his feelings mattered more than mine. You taught him that my accomplishments were hobbies and his were triumphs. You built this world for him. I'm just the one who finally showed him the price tag." I looked at my mother. My value and the value of my company are not up for negotiation. David was waiting by the car with the door already open. I got in, and we drove away, leaving the smoking crater of a life I no longer wanted behind me. I didn't look back. 6 months later, a lot had changed. The news of what happened spread like wildfire in the business community. Reynolds Properties took a massive hit. Apex, on the other hand, was flooded with offers from new clients who admired our principled stand. We signed a new, even bigger contract with a rival firm that valued our work. But the best change was more personal. I reconnected with my Aunt Margaret, my dad's sister, who had been similarly cast aside by the family years ago for being too ambitious. She became a mentor and a friend. Together, we launched a new initiative at Apex called Rise, a mentorship program for young women entrepreneurs who didn't have a family to champion them. Seeing their drive, their brilliance, it healed a part of me I thought was gone forever. It turned out that building someone else up was the best way to rebuild myself. Last week, I got an email. It was from James. 3 short sentences. "I am so sorry. I was wrong." Can I please call you? I read the words, and for a second I felt that old familiar pang of sadness for the brother I lost, but then it was replaced by a quiet sense of peace. I didn't reply. I didn't delete it either. I just moved it to an archive folder. Maybe one day I'll be ready to talk. Maybe. But the decision will be mine, on my terms, in my own time. Tonight, David and I are just having a quiet dinner at home. No drama, no battles, just peace. The kind of peace I fought for, the kind I built myself. Thank you so much for listening to my story. It wasn't easy to share, but I feel like it needed to be said. My question for you all is this: have you ever had a moment where you had to choose between your family and your own self-respect? What did you do? Let me know in the comments below. I'll be reading them. And if this story resonated with you, please give it a like and subscribe for more. It really does help.